Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to our new segment of UNC Talks, What to Expect Your First Week of College. My name is Tom and I'll be moderating this panel. I'm a student ambassador here on campus. I double major in marketing and art history. I may have given one of your campus tours, so I'm really glad to see that you guys have decided to come to UNC. I'm also an art history tutor on campus. I am a member of a marketing club, painting club, and a business fraternity called Delta Sigma Pi. So that's a little bit about me. Well, today we'll be focusing on questions you guys have about just the beginning of your college career. So remember to use our hashtag UNC Talks to ask questions through Facebook, Twitter, and our admissions webpage chat feature at unco.edu/admissions, and also directly through that Google Hangout link sent to your email. It's possible we'll run out of time and not answer every question, but no matter what, we'll get all of your questions answered. Anything we don't have answered through this, we'll respond to on social media, so no worries there. We have some great panelists for you guys today, so let's go ahead and introduce those guys. So, Jewel, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Hi guys, my name is Jewel. I'm a junior elementary education major with a reading minor. I am from Honolulu, Hawaii, so I'm an out-of-state student. Some things I'm involved in on campus: I work at the teacher education office as a desk assistant. I'm a student ambassador on campus, and some clubs I'm involved in. I'm a part of Bear Hug Club, Literacy Council, Kappa Delta Pi Honor Society, and recently I am a McNair Scholar. So that's me.
Hi everybody, my name is
Christian, I think your mute button's on.
Oh, now let's try that again. Anyways, hi everybody, my name is Christian, and I am also a student ambassador here at UNC, so there's a possibility I might be given one of your tours. And I'm from Greeley, Colorado, so if there's any questions about the town, about the city, feel free to ask me about that. I am a recent UNC alumni. Let me try that again. I just finished my final paper last week and pretty much finished up my final semester here, so that's very exciting times. I am a psychology major with a minor in music. Things I was involved with here on campus was our marching band, concert band, and jazz bands. I played trumpet for them, and I also volunteer my time at our cultural centers here on campus. So I was really involved with the programming, really like learning about diversity and different cultures represented here on campus. So that was always a good time, and I hope to work in the field of higher education, student affairs. So I want to work with students just like yourselves, getting to know what interests you when it comes to going to college, or being that support system to keep you in college. So I want to work in a career field like that, and yeah, that's pretty much sums up my life right now. So Olivia, take it away.
Hey guys, my name's Olivia. I'm going my sophomore year here at UNC, and I'm a music education major with a double major in violin performance, so all of the music here. I am originally from Fort Collins, Colorado, but I've kind of lived all over the northern Colorado area, so I am very familiar with the area. A couple things I'm involved in on campus. I was involved in Residence Hall Association, so if you have any questions about that. Also, musical activities such as orchestra choir, different musical associations, multicultural Greek life. I'm also involved off campus with political activism, and I work on and off campus as well. So that's a little bit about me.
All right, hey guys, my name is Katie Barglowski. I'm a senior elementary education major here at UNC. I have an endorsement in teaching English as a second language and a minor in psychology. I'm originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado, so not too far from here. And on campus, I've been really involved in housing. I've actually worked for them for the last 2 and some odd years, so I know a lot about how that works here. I've also been really involved in different education clubs, kind of like Jewel has, and I've been really involved in campus ministries as well. So that's me.
Hey guys, my name is Raimundo Munoz. I was originally born in Mexico. I moved to Colorado when I was very young. I'm a music education major. I play saxophone, and for the past year and a half, I've worked in the financial aid office and the student employment office. I also did work study presentations at orientation, so you might have seen me already.
All right, perfect. So with that, we can go ahead and get started with the first question. First question is, what's the quickest way to learn where things are on campus? During the 20th to the 23rd of August, will there be a tour of the buildings we can have to kind of see how far apart classes are? Christian, how about you go ahead and answer this one?
All right, so I got to think back to freshman year. So during my experience, at least, there won't technically be a tour, but that week beforehand is totally free for you to walk around campus, kind of get more acquainted, see where the classes are at. And if you do happen to forget where your classes are and need a reminder, during the first week of school, during the first couple days of classes, we'll actually have professors and students who are running tables outside of the buildings, and they'll make sure that you're getting pointed out in the right direction. They'll sit there, very friendly professors, and feel free to ask the students around campus too. It's a very friendly environment. From my experience, I would always just ask random people, and they would always be super helpful. So I really appreciated that, and I found my way around campus easier after that.
All right, cool. So next question. Should we buy textbooks before the first day of classes? Should I wait until the first day of classes to get my books? Where else can I find books cheaper than the prices at the bookstore, at the university center? How about we have two people answer this one? How about Olivia, go ahead first, and then Raimundo, you can go after her.
Okay, so you're probably going to get two different perspectives here on this. You really just have to choose the option that's best for you. Me personally, I buy my textbooks beforehand as soon as I am able to look them up through the UNC bookstore website. I don't necessarily buy them through the UNC bookstore, although oftentimes I will find that they are just as affordable there, really depending on the textbook or the class. The reason behind this is just, first of all, because I can usually save a lot of money by buying them earlier, and then I feel a lot more prepared when I'm coming into class and I already have the book and a professor assigns a reading that night. If I don't have the book at that time, that means I'm scrambling to borrow books from other people or trying to find things online, and that just becomes icky. I get off to a bad semester start. Another really cool advantage of buying the books early is that if you find that you don't need them, you can always sell them back. Sometimes the UNC bookstore, sometimes too, there's another bookstore, Textbook Brokers, down over here on Central Campus. It's not a UNC store, but a lot of students do get their textbooks from Textbook Brokers, from Amazon, from Chegg or Abe Books. Just look anywhere online or locally and you'll be able to find your books. But the cool thing about buying them early is that you can still sell them back. You can even find other students who may want to use them that you can sell them to. So I would much rather be prepared, have my books on the first day, and then sell them if I don't need them. But yeah.
Okay, Bryn.
Okay. I typically don't buy my books before classes. I wait until the first day, or maybe at least until I get my syllabus. I don't, typically it's my choice not to take out as much financial aid if I don't need to. A lot of times, especially if it's loans, I like to work and then buy my books. Obviously, any way I can save money is good. But there's been times when when I bought my books and I get to class and we don't really use the book that much, and I just spent a lot of money on on a book that I didn't really need. I typically only end up buying the books that that are required for my major because I'm music ed, so I'm probably going to use those books again. But the LAC, core classes, I typically either rent those or, buy them used, or if they're not going to use them, then I don't get them at all. But Chegg is a good place to get them pretty cheap. You can always rent them from there. Olivia mentioned Textbook Brokers. They're pretty affordable. I found some on Amazon, and bookrenter.com is becoming kind of popular to buy textbooks from. So there's definitely other options. And professors are typically pretty understanding if you don't have your book on the first day. So.
All right, excellent. Couple things to add to that as well. You mentioned renting. You can also buy things like loose leaf textbooks, which can really help your costs as well. So there's lots of different methods to do with that. Also, another great way, personally, I often ask a lot of people. I know a lot of people who have taken classes before me. I'll say, okay, did this professor use the book, or did they not really ever use it, or just stuff like that. You can also check Rate My Professor, and they might talk about textbook use there. So there's little ways that you sometimes will know, sometimes you won't, but yeah, there's kind of a different opinion on both of those. Cool. So we can go to the next question. This one is for Katie. Do they clean the carpets and beds and all that before you get there in the residence halls, or do you have to do it yourself?
Alrighty, so housing completely cleans the room before you get there. So you don't have to worry about cleaning the floors, cleaning the beds, cleaning the bathrooms if you've got a bathroom in your suite. All of that's going to be ready for you to get there. With that in mind, you are going to want to bring your own stuff cleaned because, of course, you're coming into a clean room, so you've got to bring your own clean stuff. And then from there, you'll be able to like organize and stuff, but you won't have to worry about initially cleaning the room because that's already taken care of before you get moved in. So. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. So we just got another one in. This one's for Jewel. Hi, I'm from California. I'm kind of nervous coming from out of state. Any idea on how? Any ideas on dealing with anxiety?
Okay, so coming from out of state, it's really tough. I get really homesick a lot, but we do have counseling services at UNC. And that's something that I took advantage of, and it's not necessarily, you don't have to have like a huge problem. Like you can just go in and explain that you get homesick, and then they'll pair you up with a counselor that meets your needs, and then you can talk about that, and you can come in weekly, and that really helped me out, especially because I get really homesick, and I get kind of anxious being like thrown into a new environment. And there's a lot of out-of-state students on campus as well, so you do kind of link up with them, and then you can talk about it with them. So that's kind of how I got through it, and then you get used to being at UNC, and it just feels like home after a while.
Awesome. Thanks, Jewel. Here we just got another one. Okay. So we got some things that's asking about getting involved on campus, like the Taste of UNC, first day, meet new people, and so basically asking things like how are we gonna meet new people on campus, not eat alone at the dining halls, like what kind of things to meet people with. So let's say let's see, how about Christian? How about you guys? Oh, Katie, I see. Katie, how about you answer this one?
Okay, so this is something I get really excited about. Having been involved in housing, the first way to really get involved with people on campus is you're required to go to a floor meeting when you move in. So you're going to be meeting with your resident assistant, who's kind of the person who runs your floor or runs your hall, depending on what your setup is. But they're going to tell you what your welcome week events are going to look like, so what kind of fun things are going on. Tom mentioned Taste of UNC, which is a really great thing our dining services puts on our first week, where you get to taste some of the dining hall food, kind of get used to what kind of things you're going to have access to as a student there. There are tons of information fairs going on the first week, so you can see what kind of clubs and organizations we have on campus. And this is really the best way to just get information. You'll get the initial information at that floor meeting, like I said, and then go to those information fairs, get connected with things that even remotely sound interesting to you, because the first few weeks of classes, tons of people are just trying out new things. So you don't have to commit to anything those first few weeks. Really, it's just seeing what kind of feels natural to you, what sounds like a fun thing for you to get involved in, and that's probably the best way to see what'll work for you for getting involved and for meeting people.
Thanks, Katie. All right, here's one for Raimundo. Is it hard to find a job as a freshman?
That kind of depends on the office. Obviously, if you really want to work, in the building that most of your classes are in, like your department is in, and their office only requires one assistant, then yeah, it might get a little bit competitive. But there's a lot of employment opportunities. The dining hall is a great employment opportunity. They hire a ton of students, whether they have work study or not. The housing department, they hire a lot of kids too, a lot of students. Sorry. The university center, they kind of have an application that goes out to all positions at the university center. That's a good resource too. So it kind of depends on the type of job you're looking for, but your opportunities aren't limited. Definitely look on Bear's Career Connection. There's a lot of positions listed on there, both normal part-time, non-work study, and work study. So definitely use all the resources you can.
Awesome, thank you. So how about Here's a question: should I bring a car to campus? Olivia, how about you answer this one?
Yes. The answer is yes. You may bring a car to campus. Anybody can bring a car. You could probably even bring two, although I don't know why you would want to do that. But yeah, parking permits for the campus cost about $250 for the entire year. And depending on where you're going to be living and where your classes are, you may or may not want to buy a parking permit. So if you're living on West Campus, I will tell you, you are going to want a parking permit because you're going to want to park your car next to the West Campus housing, and there is no street parking over there. So I would definitely suggest buying that right off the bat, because otherwise you're just going to be ending up paying more for fines and then the parking permit later. Now, if you live on Central Campus, or you decide to commute and you want to try to find street parking, if you have a lot of classes on Central Campus or you're living on Central Campus, you can try to get away with street parking as much as you can. I personally went a whole year without a parking permit on Central Campus, but it was a little rough just because everybody's competing for those spots. And needless to say, if everybody didn't buy a parking permit, then there would be no street parking left, and we would have to park in the lots. So the cool thing about that, though, is that Parking Services offers a prorated rate as the year goes on. So if you buy the parking permit in October, it's going to cost you less than if you bought it at the beginning of the year in August. So if you want to try parking on the street for a couple months and just see how it works out, then go for it, and then maybe buy the parking permit later, just whatever suits your needs the best. But yes, you may bring a car.
Awesome, thanks, Olivia. To add to that as well, so a lot of people, again, kind of varying opinions on that one. For example, I'm a super senior at this point, and I still don't have a car on campus, and I'm, getting around just fine. Campus isn't, too huge. We got a bus system that'll take you from one side to the other, and that runs every like 7 minutes. There's friends who can take you to the grocery store, but also you can just bike there. It's not too far. And I've also known some people who do like to bring cars, but they don't have a parking permit, and they'll keep their car on their off-campus housing, their parking lot, or driveway or something there, and then they can use the car to go maybe to the grocery store or to downtown Greeley, or just home for the weekend or something. So there's cars for different reasons, and it kind of depends on where you work, how fast you have to get from place to place, how far apart things are. So that's another thing that kind of depends on your schedule as well. Let's go ahead and ask another one. Let's say, do the residence halls have air conditioning, and do the thermostats work well? So how about Jewel, you answer this one.
Okay, so all the residence halls have air conditioning except for Harrison Hall, but I did live in Harrison Hall my freshman year, and it's not as bad as it sounds with no air conditioning. What I did was I bought a box fan and kind of put it in the window, and it was fine with me. But if you do need that air conditioning, North and South halls have thermostats located in your room, and the remaining halls have thermostats for the building. So when the weather kind of changes, they'll change, or they'll monitor the weather, the air conditioning for you. So it really is your preference, because I lived in Harrison Hall, and it was pretty cool with me.
Thank you, Jewel. We just got another question in. The question is, should I buy a bike or rent one from the school? Let's see, who would like to answer this one? Anyone? Okay. Christian, how about you answer this one?
All right, so what's cool about renting out the Blue Cruiser bikes, they're really stylish, decorated in school colors, so they're really cool, and they're really nifty. They have a basket in front for your books. And it's totally free for you to rent out, as Tom said before. You do have to bring it in every week for maintenance, make sure everything's running smoothly. If that's not a hassle you want to deal with, I would recommend getting your own bike. Just here on campus, we recommend buying a U-lock. So if you want to lock up your bike here on campus, we do recommend that lock option. And you even have the opportunity to register your bike with the UNCPD as well. So they can keep track of it for you if it's ever lost or stolen, anything like that. But yeah, it's just really on personal preference. I love the Blue Cruisers, enjoy riding those around campus. And it was really part of my routine to take it back, and I kind of got used to it over the week. So it was really no big deal for me. But if that's not something you want to deal with, then I would recommend getting your own bike.
Another thing about bikes is that if you do rent them from Outdoor Pursuits here, it's actually more just like checking it out. As long as you bring it back in good condition, it's free for you to use. It's a student resource. So if you don't already have a bike and you're willing to take it in every week to make sure everything's working great, the Blue Cruiser is a really great way to go. Now, if you're an avid biker or you just really like if you're like me and you like having control over like when you use your transportation, then I would recommend bringing your own bike, but definitely have a U-Lock.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Let's see. Oh, that said, I forgot to mention, with that, you might also have a preference for like a mountain bike, for example, if you want to switch gears for something. I prefer that since there are hills on campus. So one thing I've heard, a lot of people will sometimes also rent a bike from campus for free for a little bit, kind of see if they use it, and then if they end up using that bunch, then they'll go buy a bike. So I've seen people do that as well. We can move on to another question. Let's see. How about let's see. Where was it? So what are some things to remember to bring that a lot of people forget? So how about Katie? You go ahead and answer this one.
Okay, so probably some good recommendations are like plates and bowls and things like that, because you are going to be eating in the dining hall a lot. Assuming, because you'll get a meal plan when you come and move in and everything, so you'll be able to eat in the dining hall a lot. But there are going to be times that you want to like cook something in your residence hall or have a quick bowl of cereal, something like that. And our front desks do have really basic like cooking utensils and things like that, so you can get cookie sheets, pots and pans and things like that. But they're very limited on like the plates and bowls that they have. So plates, bowls, cups, things like that. A lot of times you're not thinking about that because you're planning on eating in the dining hall all the time. So that's definitely something to consider. And then something else, it's not necessarily something that people forget, but if you are an in-state student, a really great option for really not limiting your space, but limiting what you're putting into your space is bring your clothes in rounds, sort of. So like the weather's going to be a lot warmer while you're up here for the first couple months or so, so bring maybe some more warm weather clothes, a few cool weather clothes, because Colorado weather can be kind of unpredictable, so you want to be prepared. But you don't have to bring your entire winter wardrobe for the first couple months, and then you can go trade it out, and then again, once it starts getting warmer, you can trade out for your warmer clothes. So just kind of something to consider. That is possible for our out-of-state students as well, but it can get a little bit trickier there. But that is something to keep in mind. Otherwise, your basics are going to be pretty much what you need here at UNC.
Perfect. Thanks, Katie. So actually, that's a nice transition into the weather. You talked about clothes, the different types of things to bring. So how about we answer, how's the weather there? What's the average thing like here? So how about we have Jewel get an out-of-state perspective from this one?
Okay, that's really funny. The weather varies a lot. So Colorado weather, you can have like one day that's really sunny and then the next day will snow. So it's really unpredictable. So for me, as far as like clothes, you don't need a lot of clothes, you just need the right clothes. So definitely layers. So if it's cold at one time, you can take it off and then you have it with you. So yeah, definitely just dressing in layers and being prepared for anything, because Colorado weather is really unpredictable.
Thanks, Jewel. So here's one that's probably good for Raimundo. When and how do I register for my classes? Do I need to do anything prior to registration? I applied late. When, where, and how do I find out what building I will be in?
Typically, you would register for your classes at orientation. They'll show you how to do that. If you register late, it'll tell you on your URSA. If you look at your calendar a week at a glance and you click on the class, it'll tell you what room you're in. But I think Christian mentioned that you can also walk around and see what building you're in. So that's a good idea. That's what I did. So I wouldn't be lost. My first day, I just went on URSA and saw where it said it was, what building, and then I walked around to those buildings just so that I knew where to go. And then once you're inside, it might be tougher to find the room, but at least you know how to get there. Prior to registering for classes, since I work in financial aid, I guess I would say make sure that UNC has your FAFSA. There's nothing worse than registering and then finding out that you we don't have your FAFSA, so we haven't processed anything. So make sure your financial aid is in order, or at least you know what to do to get it in order, before you get that big bill and you freak out. So definitely make sure financial aid stuff is good.
Thank you. Let's see. We got another one. What is it like rushing Greek life? Olivia, you got something interesting about this one. How about you take this one?
Okay. So I told you earlier, maybe I didn't. I'm not sure I mentioned this, but I am starting a chapter for a multicultural Latin-based Greek sorority called Lambda Theta Alpha. So I actually am kind of part of the recruitment process right now as a recruit myself. So it's a lot of fun. My story is basically I had Lambda Theta Alpha in mind when I was coming into UNC, so I wanted to incorporate that in. But rushing Greek life kind of happens in a couple different ways. So we have your typical social traditional sororities and fraternities. They're part of the Panhellenic Council and the Interfraternal Council. Those two, you have a structured rush at the beginning of the school year. Sometimes they recruit throughout different times in the school year. So if there's one that you're wanting to join, like in the middle of the semester, get in contact with them. They may be recruiting outside of Rush Week, but basically you will fill out a form online on the UNC webpage, and they take you through recruitment, looking at all sorts of different fraternities and sororities that we have. You'll kind of find out what, the motto, what the purpose of each one is. Like Tom mentioned, there's a business co-ed fraternity. There are strictly social sororities and fraternities. And then there's also ones that are very geared towards very specific areas of interest. Like we have a co-ed band fraternity that's based down in Fraser Hall. So you'll just find whichever one interests you the most, what culture you fit in well with, and it's a really cool experience because then you have that aha moment of I totally get these people. Then you know you're on the right track. If you want to do a multicultural council organization, we have quite a few of those as well. The National Panhellenic Council are traditionally historically Black fraternities and sororities, and then the Multicultural Greek Council, all of the ones here right now are Latin-based sororities. So if you want to get involved in those, what happens is throughout the year we will host different informational sessions, and again, find the one that you click with. If you, no sorority or fraternity is a bad organization, and no one is the best organization, but there will be the best organization for you. So it's just a lot of fun. You discover a lot about yourself, a lot about the people that you're working with. I've discovered a lot about who I am just trying to implement the sorority that I'm starting right now. So relax, don't overthink it, don't push something that may not be right for you, just enjoy the ride, and you'll end up with a group of ladies or gentlemen that you will have connections with for the rest of your life.
Awesome, great answer, Olivia. Yeah, I must agree about that part of the there is no best one, there's just the best one for you. That's really solid. I like that a lot. Let's go ahead and ask, what are some really great clubs and organizations to get involved with on campus, and how do you learn about them? Christian, how about you take this one?
Alrighty, cool. So when you come here your first week of school, there is something called the Student Involvement Fair that you'll get to check out here. It's out on our Bishop Learfield usually. And during that time, all the clubs and organizations here will be out there tabling. They'll be handing out free stuff, handing out some information for you. There's over 120 plus clubs here on campus, and that even includes the Greek life. So you'll see a couple of those organizations out there, our Student Senate, University Program Council. They're in charge of the social events. They'll help plan out those events. The spring concert's one of the things that they do. So it's really cool to check that out and see if there's any group here on campus that meets your needs. When it comes to the different types of clubs, we have everything from the marketing club to ski club, Colorado car club, sushi club, zombie elimination club. Yeah, Quidditch team and club sports are included in that too. So there's a lot of different things, and it's cool to go to that student involvement fair just to see what's a right fit for you and what information can you get from them and see if it's the right fit for you pretty much. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, like, stop by all of the booths because most of the time they're giving away lots of free stuff, and you'll get all sorts of plates and cups and other fun things. And as a college kid, who doesn't like free stuff?
Yeah, and there's
stuff everywhere.
Yeah, and when it comes to clubs and organizations, as I said, there's lots of different types. Some can be based out of interests, maybe some are more cultural oriented. I know I was a part of the cultural centers here on campus, so I did a lot of programming through there. There's a lot of clubs and organizations based out of there. I'm actually a part of an organization called the League of United Latin American Citizens, abbreviated LULAC, which is based out of the cultural centers. So just know that there's a lot of different interest groups here on campus that are just happy to see you and waiting for you to come visit them and talk to them pretty much.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see. How do you stay organized in college? Olivia, you're super busy, so how about you answer this one?
Okay, so this is a loaded question. Me personally, I keep a planner. Right now I'm kind of switching to use a smartphone. I don't know if you're making fun of me or not.
Oh no, that's what I use too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, use a planner. I personally like a planner that has a monthly calendar as well as an hourly calendar. So one page will be the day, and in the day it'll show every single hour. That allows me to block everything into my schedule. So recently I switched to using a smartphone calendar that allows me to organize, see everything by the month, by the week, by the day, which again includes an hourly schedule. Every Sunday night I sit down and I put my weekly schedule in. So first I put in my classes. Then next I put in, I make a little list where I prioritize everything. So let's see, actually on my phone right now, I wish I had it with me, or I would just going to show you, but I have a memo of all of the different activities that I'm involved in. And then I make a separate memo for everything that I need to do for those separate activities. So I think, and then I prioritize it in those lists, what's most important, what needs to be done first. A really great way to prioritize what you need to do is to organize things by the weight or the gravity, like how important they are, as well as by how urgent they are, how quickly they need to be done. So let's say if I have a giant test tomorrow that's worth half of my grade, that is both urgent and carries a lot of weight. So that's going to be at the top of my list. I need to study for that test. If I have something like, I have that giant test, but it's in 2 months, that's a little farther down my list. It's still important, but it doesn't need to be done right away. Maybe I'll start setting aside half an hour every day to start studying for that test. That's just a quick way to judge the priorities that you're making in your list. So once you have your list of priorities, you can go ahead and start plugging that into the time around your classes. I work 2 jobs, so that's a really high priority for me. I can't just not show up to them. So I put in my classes, I put in my jobs, then I put in my homework time. Being a musician, practice is the same thing for me, so I always schedule in my practice time, and then I fill in my what I need to do for my sorority, what I need to do for National Hispanic Institute, what I need to do working on political campaigns, and I put all of that stuff in. Once that's done, when I have any time left that's flex time, I mark it as flex time. When I have time for lunch, I set that time aside for lunch, because it's really easy to stop taking care of yourself sometimes if you have a busy schedule like I do. You think, oh, I need to get this and this and this done, and then you forget to eat, or you decide, or you don't sleep as much as you need to. If you notice you're getting behind on sleep, put that in your schedule. Schedule sleep in. Just schedule everything. Make sure that you have your week planned before you start the week, and you'll just have a lot less to think about. All you'll have to do is be like, what time is it? Oh, I need to be doing this thing. And then do it. You'll find yourself with so much more free time and a lot less stressed out.
Perfect. Thank you. And since this is another thing that can kind of be like different for people, how about we get another perspective as well? So, Raimundo, how do you keep organized in college?
I kind of have the same approach. I do block out times on when to do stuff, especially as a music major. I have to block out times when I'm going to practice, and that's usually a few hours out of your day. But I would say if it needs to be done, if you're going to do it, definitely carve out a block for it. Olivia just said lunch. I know that sounds I've had people tell me that sounds crazy, but you definitely do have to block that time out to when you say I'm going to have lunch right now, because it is very easy like Olivia said, to stop taking care of yourself. But anything that needs to be done today, anything just needs to go either into a smartphone or a planner. I use a planner too, but it needs to be scheduled so that you can see it and you know where you are with everything that you need to do.
Awesome. And with that said, I know that for you guys just coming in may sound like just so hectic and just so much stuff balance. I was kind of the same way. I was super nervous when I came in, thinking about seeing all these people just so busy. I was kind of afraid I wouldn't be able to keep up with that. Really, when you get thrown into this, you'll it just becomes easier. It just becomes kind of like your new rhythm, I suppose would be a good way to put that. So yeah, don't freak out about it. It's a super something that's kind of easy to get into, and you'll develop your own system. Everyone has their own thing, so yeah, don't worry too much about that one. Let's see. How about here's one kind of important. Is there a place to cook in the residence halls? Can we bring an induction stovetop to cook with, since it uses magnets and special pans? So to the touch, it's not hot. Katie, you're involved with housing, so you probably know this one very well.
Alrighty, so for cooking, first off, all of our residence halls have at least one community kitchen area that you're going to be able to use as a student living in that residence hall, and that'll have a stove, an oven, fridge and freezer, food prep area, so all kinds of stuff that you might need when you're cooking. I already mentioned that all of our residence halls also have those basic cooking supplies, so you don't necessarily have to bring up your cookie sheets with you because we'll already have them in the residence halls. Lawrenson Hall, if you happen to be living in Lawrenson Hall, you're actually going to have a full kitchen in your suite with you, so that's a bonus as well. If you really like to cook, that's going to be really awesome for you. So that rather than using a community kitchen area, you've got one in your suite. But otherwise, all of our residence hall communities have at least that one kitchen area. And unfortunately, we don't allow induction stoves in our residence hall. Some of them do have it. For example, Harrison Hall was just renovated a couple of summers ago, and so they have an induction stove in their residence hall, but you're not allowed to bring an additional one. You'll just be using whatever your residence hall already has for you.
All right, thank you, Katie. Let's see. So, how about how do we make ourselves feel more comfortable in our new residence halls and school? Jewel, since you're out of state, that's probably a good one for you as well. Just coping with homesickness and stuff. How about you answer that, and then for an in-state perspective, how about we go to Raimundo next?
Okay, so for me, especially in my room, I brought a lot of pictures of my friends and family from home, and I put those around my room. My friends from home also sent me a lot of little notes and things, so I put those up in my room as well, which would make it feel a little bit more homey. As far as being comfortable at school, I got really familiar with the campus, just so that it doesn't feel like everywhere I go is a new place, when you try and look for an office and things. So get really familiar with the campus, where everything is. Just walk around and get to know where things are, so you don't feel so lost and kind of like a stranger on campus, because that's really where you're living. So yeah, that's how I got comfortable.
There you go.
Okay. I did the same thing. I brought pictures of my family. I was particularly close with my sister and brother, so it is easy, to feel kind of, homesick. Definitely get to know your roommate. You don't want it to feel like you're living with a complete stranger, even though that's what you're doing, but definitely get to know them so it doesn't feel that way all the time. A big thing for me was, for some reason, I don't know why, but I brought up all the posters I had, and I had to hang those up, and because your dorm looks really depressing when you first walk into it, because the walls are kind of bare. So I brought up posters, anything that you use a lot for distraction or something. For me, it was books. I brought a lot of books, even if I wasn't reading them. It just made me feel better to have like a stash of books that I could pull out and read at any time that I wanted. I would agree with Jewel. Yeah, definitely get familiar with the campus. Different offices that you're going to need. Especially if it pertains to your major. Definitely, most of your major classes are going to be maybe in one building. So definitely get familiar with that building, so you don't feel like a stranger just wandering. But yeah.
All right, awesome. Does anyone else have any other panelists have any other things to add to that one? Is that Olivia? Cool. We'll go to you. Or not. Okay. Okay. So let's see. We'll move on to another one. This one's also for Olivia. How's the food at the dining halls? And what if I'm allergic to gluten?
There we go.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sorry, it just wasn't in the meeting. The food at the dining halls is awesome, and I love food, so I would say I'm pretty qualified to tell you how awesome it is. We do have quite a few options for you if you have dietary restrictions of any sort. Specifically, the Dash is a section of our dining halls that serves food that doesn't contain 8 of the 9 major allergens, one of them being gluten. So if you are gluten-free, you can go to the Dash anytime that the dining hall is open and know that you're getting something that's gluten-free. Also, if you want toast, we have gluten-free bread. If you want to make yourself a sandwich, we have gluten-free bread. We have gluten-free, basically a lot of things. So you can have gluten-free pasta for you sometimes. So you have a lot of options as a person who wants to be gluten-free. We also have quite a few vegetarian options. There will always be something for you that you can eat, and we'll always have options too. It's not just here's your one vegetarian thing for you to eat tonight. So that's really cool. We have a full salad bar. We have tons of fresh fruit, yogurt, cheeses, lactose-free stuff. We have lactose-free milk, so we have a fridge with silk milk, almond milk. So if you like soy or almond or even coconut milk, we have that sometimes. Really cool. As a diabetic person, I also use the Dash because I need to count my carbs in order to give myself the right amount of insulin. So if you have, they also have a lot of sugar-free things and sweeteners that are not going to cause your blood sugar to raise. So if you're diabetic, then you got that taken care of too. But yeah, our dining halls are very, very friendly to people who have dietary restrictions. And there's also a dietitian in all of our dining halls that you can talk to specifically about your needs and about your concerns and how they can best accommodate you.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. The food here is really good. I didn't want one when I was a freshman. I didn't want the meal plan, and then I, ate here, for the first couple of weeks. I thought they were tricking me with really great food the first couple of weeks, and then it was that all the time. So I ended up keeping a meal plan until I was a junior. So, really great food. I love it a lot. That also kind of goes into another question, talking about the counting, carbs, the protein, having that Dash area. That was really nice for me at the, coming back from the rec center, knowing how much protein I was getting and all that. So we got a question. Is it easy to learn your way around the rec center, and is it hard to get started? Does anyone want to take this one? No? Okay. Well, I can go ahead and answer this one. Well, so coming in, I took weights in high school, so it wasn't, totally foreign to me, but I do know a lot of people who didn't really have any sort of introduction to that at all. And that's actually a really great way to meet people too. We had that question earlier. The rec center is a really great way to make some friends. Get a gym buddy. Someone could be similar to your ability, or it could be someone who's maybe much more knowledgeable, and then they can teach you a lot of that stuff. So that's really nice that they can kind of get you into it. That's kind of how I especially got even further into it, is I just had some friends who really were heavily involved with that. As for if you don't necessarily have anyone you can tag along with, there's lots of really cool things like the group fit pass. If you have that, you can get to any sort of class. So it's not like you have to buy one for yoga, one for kickboxing, one for cycling. You'll have just that one pass and they'll get you any one. And it's like, what is it, $60 for the year, so a pretty good price. I know my sister pays $30 a month for yoga, where she is, so really good prices, and that'll kind of help you introduce to it. You can also get personal trainers here, dietitians, massage therapists, lots of cool stuff. So not too hard to get involved, and they'll even have some really cool festivals at the rec center to kind of help people get involved as well. Okay, let's go to the next question. Is it hard to get financial aid? And Raimundo, that's one for you. So let's go to you.
That's kind of a tricky question. Financial aid, I don't think a lot of people consider loans financial aid, but that is under that umbrella. It depends on the type of financial aid. Loans are typically, as an incoming freshman, you'll get $5,500 in your loans, and then the rest may be in a parent loan. You may also qualify for grants. All of that really depends on your parents' income and your own income, if you have income. You put it all in the FAFSA, and then they come out with a number called the estimated family contribution, or expected family contribution. That's kind of the number we use to determine the type of aid that you're eligible for. So you might see grants pop up on your award letter and loans, and you didn't really do anything other than fill out the FAFSA, which is great. The scholarships are what's more competitive. So the scholarships are going to be not as easy to get. I definitely encourage you guys to fill out the Universal Scholarship application. That's a great resource. But those are more competitive. Loans are not easier. I don't want to say easier to get, but they'll show up on your award letter, and the process isn't as lengthy as it is for a scholarship. But how easy is it to get financial aid kind of depends on the type of financial aid you're talking about.
So I just got a question. What are some of the events going to be like the first week on campus? Anyone in particular want to answer this one? Katie? All right, let's get to you.
Like I said before, there's a ton of stuff going on during the first week of classes. So one of my favorites is within the first week, our University Program Council, which is one of our large student organizations on campus, they'll put on an ice cream social night. And this is one of the best ways to get out of your residence halls. You'll have just moved in, maybe just started classes, and you're going to be able to mingle with new people, get free ice cream, so that's already a huge plus. And then just meet new people, see a couple of different organizations on campus. Of course, our University Program Council, sometimes our Residence Hall Association helps with that. So that's really great. Our Residence Hall Association is one of our large housing organizations on campus, and so they'll put on a couple of different events throughout the first week or so. Your community council within your residence halls will put on different get-to-know-your residence hall type of events. So all kinds of different stuff that'll be going on. And then, of course, those information fairs you'll definitely want to check out. And one of the really big ones is actually called Northern at Night. This happens the first week of classes as well. Actually, I think the day before classes start is, I believe, when it usually happens. But definitely check your calendar for that. And pretty much this is a large event where you can go and do tons of fun stuff. It's a little bit different every year. Usually we have inflatables. You'll get to play a ton of different inflatable games and things like that. You'll get to do henna, get free food. Like I said, it really differs year to year, but that's definitely something to check out because you'll just moved in. Classes will be starting soon, and if you want to go with maybe the few people you've met in your residence hall or something like that, that's really the best way to get out and kind of adventure for the first time.
Thank you, Katie. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on that? I know there's a lot of stuff going on the first week. No? And actually, that thing I mentioned, RecFest, that actually I believe happens that first week as well. So that'll kind of get you, taking some of those maybe free yoga class or free cycling class, or just kind of taking you around to the rock wall or showing around the weights. So I know they do a lot of stuff like that. And I know the student newspapers had something with getting involved with that as well. But let's see what else. I think there's the Taste of UNC, really cool little event that happens on Turner Green by the dining hall. What else? There's open mic night, bingo, lots of really cool stuff. So there's really nothing it'll be hard to miss those things. They'll just be everywhere. And you might think they'll kind of die out as the year goes by. And there's always events that are happening. So read the bulletin boards, read your email. It says what is it called? It's what's going on campus. It'll be this cool email they'll send out saying, oh, there's this happening and this happening, or that kind of stuff. So that's a really great way to kind of utilize all the different free events or just things to better yourself. Let's go on to another question. How about if I pick up a second major, can I still graduate in 4 years? And I know I can answer this one. Before I do, I'll pass it on to Olivia because I know she also double majors.
Oh, I did not. Okay. Yeah, I am a double major right now. I'm a major in violin performance and music education. So it really kind of depends on your major. what you can do is actually go to the website and figure out how many credits your major is. Now, if you have a 60 credit major and you want to add a 40 credit major on top of that, you're going to be able to graduate in about 4 years. It all depends on how you want to schedule it too. If you take a higher amount of credits, like say 16 to 18 credits a semester, you're more likely to get out in 4 years than if you say took the minimum 12 credits a semester. If you're only taking 12 credits each semester, you're not going to graduate in 4 years no matter what. So just be mindful of that. One degree is 120 credits. If you add a double degree on top of that, you don't have those 40 liberal arts core credits to do again, but you do have to take your major classes afterwards. So with a degree like mine, music education specifically is a 126 credit degree in and of itself. To add a performance major on top of that was 12 extra credits for me specifically, and that puts me, after adding on lessons and everything, close to 150 credits. Now, I can graduate in 4 years if I take summer classes and do some classes over intern, which is our winter semester. So that's definitely a possibility. But if, let's say you're majoring in communications, which is a 40 credit degree, and then you want to major in like journalism, I believe is another 40 credit degree, you just won't have to take any electives, and you're totally okay to probably graduate in 4 years without taking any classes over the summer. It also helps a lot if you've taken AP courses or have IB courses that are going to transfer for credit at the university. But I guess the answer is yes, it's possible. The kind of TLDR version is yes, it's possible. Just be very aware of how many credits you're taking and talk to your advisor about how long it's going to take, and be prepared to take on any sort of extra financial burden that may happen if you do decide to take longer than 4 years to graduate.
Perfect. Yeah, so just to add on to that, that was one of the big questions I had when I was looking at universities. For me, I mean, it's kind of different depending on what your majors are. So I know, for example, my friend graduated with 3 majors in ceramics, art history, and philosophy, and they did it in 4 years. So, you know, some of those overlap a lot more than others, mine being business and art, very different. So it's taking me 4.5 years, with summer class about 3 per summer, I'd say. So it's definitely doable. I did take some 18 credit semesters, which is the max you can take. Typically I did 15, and I'm finally doing my last one with 12. So yeah, it is a little bit more, but you know, I really enjoy having the two. It's really giving me a lot of diversity, so opening a lot of doors. So it's definitely doable, and it's not going to necessarily take you, 8 years to do it. So that's nice about that. Let's see. How about Joel? I don't think we've heard from you for a little bit. So is it hard to keep good grades? And how do you kind of maintain a balance between your social life and grades and school?
So it's not that hard to get good grades at UNC. I mean, definitely don't skip class. I know sometimes that's kind of a bad habit that you get in being on your own, and being away from your parents telling you to get up on time and go to class. So definitely don't skip class, and make sure that you have kind of a plan for the day, like what Olivia said, about keeping that planner and making sure that everything's kind of mapped out so that you have time for everything. So as long as you're going to class and keeping up with your work, it's not that hard to keep it balanced with a social life. So it's just about being organized, really.
Perfect. And Christian, do you want to add anything onto that one as well?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was, is it hard to maintain good grades? Just so we can kind of get a diverse opinion on that one.
Okay. Well, organization and your grades actually do go hand in hand. So what helped me keep my grades was staying organized and make sure I had plenty of time to study, and even social time was included into that. So I tried to divide it between the best of both worlds, so social time and academics as well. And that really helped keep me in check and really focus on my academics. When it came to academics, that was my top priority, so I make sure that always came first before anything else. well, not anything else, but social life. Maybe you will, you maybe have to skip out on going out with your friends one night in order to, make sure you're in check with your grades. But what kept me motivated was really having that done, like weight lifted off your shoulders. It was usually when I would get stuff done. When I would get stuff done, it would really take that weight off my shoulders, really ease the stress, and it would allow me to focus on, what the next assignment was. What helped me a lot, I'm a really big fan of iPhone calendars. So with that, I would always plan out my assignments. I would go through my syllabus and put in reminders in my iPhone calendar, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks in advance to remind me, oh, this assignment is coming up. Or, there's a test this day, so I really should study. So that definitely really helped out when it came to keeping my grades up. So yeah.
Can I say something real quick? The question is if it's hard, and if hard to you means takes effort, then yes, it is hard. Like, it's going to take a lot of effort to make sure that you get good grades, like any school probably should. You should be challenging yourself, and that's a good thing. But like you're saying, organization, another really key thing, getting involved in study groups.
Mm-hmm.
Study groups are super motivational. The best way to learn something is by teaching it to other people, so being in a study group is a wonderful way to do that. Also, I know like a lot of Greek life organizations, or even like other organizations on campus, are really good support systems academically as well as socially. So whenever you get the opportunity to socialize and study and be productive at the same time, that's usually going to be a great way to go. Just knowing when to study with the group and knowing when to shut yourself in your room and focus is a good thing, and you'll get a good feel for it. But yeah, it takes effort.
Yeah, it takes a little effort, and what's nice is that you get to choose your classes. So choose classes that may sound interesting to you, and it'll seem a little less effortless when it comes to studying, because it's something you actually want to learn about and really get involved with.
Because coming to college is the coolest thing, because you have so much more freedom to choose what you are studying, even when it is a liberal arts core credit. So when you register for those classes, or you decide to switch into a class that's more interesting to you, you will really want to put the work in, and that makes it less hard.
Yeah, one of my classes that I chose was history of rock and roll, and I totally aced that class because I enjoyed music, learning about their culture of rock and roll, and it just made it seem effortless. And it was really exciting to learn about those stuff, and it made things a little easier along the way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Having a class you're interested in also really helps as well. That's really nice so that you can kind of choose classes like that. So they'll give you a certain amount of LACs, which are your liberal arts core, and they're not going to say you have to take biology or something. They'll say choose a lab class for science, then you can choose from all sorts of stuff, and it's really cool you can choose that. Let's go on to another question. Let's see. Okay. How about I have trouble waking myself up in the morning? How do I avoid sleeping in? Katie, how about you go for this one?
Okay, so probably my best recommendation is if you really struggle to wake up early in the morning, don't take early morning classes. You don't have to, especially freshman year, you're going to find you have a lot of flexibility with different classes that you can choose, just because you have such a wide range of classes you can choose. So you get to build a schedule based on your own preferences. So if you want to take only classes afternoons so you can still get that sleep-in time if you really need it, do that. Do what works best for you. On the flip side, if you still really want to take those morning classes, really get things done, in the mornings you have the rest of your day to work, to study, to socialize, things like that, that's also a great choice, but you have to plan a little bit better. So you might have to set more than one alarm in the morning. I know a lot of people who have to do that so that they can force themselves to get up, and sometimes that's what it takes. Another really great thing is to form kind of a partnership with your roommate. If your roommate's waking up a little bit before you or at the same time as you, they can help you really get up and get ready in the morning and kind of be that extra moral support that you might need to get up and get ready. So whatever works best for you, just think about what you're willing to do in order to accomplish these classes, because if you're not willing to get up in the morning, you're not really going to be successful in those early morning classes. So just keep that in mind.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. So just to kind of wrap up, let's kind of just go around, each person just say what's your big tip for freshmen. Everyone's kind of got their own thing, so how about we just start with Jewel, go to Christian, Olivia, Katie, then Raimundo.
Okay, so my biggest tip to freshmen would be just to get involved and try a lot of different things that maybe you don't think you'd like because you might end up liking them. So like a lot of different clubs, activities, like get involved and try as many things as possible because that's how you make friends and you find different interests that you might like. So that would be my biggest tip.
Well, for me, I'm a really independent person, and I found it hard to ask for help. But that's probably one of the best things you can do. Don't be shy and use resources that you have here on campus that are available to you, and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's really the biggest thing. If I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have known all the resources we have here on campus and the support services that students have here and have free access to actually. So. Definitely step out of your comfort zone. It's okay to ask for help. Yeah, pretty much it.
Number 1, go to class.
Yes.
That's the largest predictor of if somebody is going to graduate college or not, is if they go to class. And it seems like a slippery slope, but you take one day where it's like, it's really cold outside, I really don't feel like going right now, I want to sleep in, and you don't go that one day. Whatever, you miss a couple participation points, you read up on the material, you think you're fine. 2 weeks later, you're completely behind, you're failing the class, and maybe it's something that's really mandatory. These classes are costing you money, and if they're not costing you money, they're costing somebody else money. So think about that, you're paying for these classes, not to mention build relationships with your professors, choose classes you like. But yeah, my number 1 tip for you is go to class because you'll be really overwhelmed if you don't. And most of all, you're going to learn a lot if you do, and it's going to be totally worth it. That's the main purpose of what school is here for, is go to class. And then my number 2, again, get involved. That's probably, you're going to hear that echoed a lot, but get involved in something. People who get involved are more likely to go to class. They're more likely to have a more fulfilled college experience. They're more likely to get good grades and meet friends and have networks that last in their entire lives. So go to class, get involved, you'll be golden.
Step into discomfort.
Yes.
So basically, like what pretty much everyone has said so far, get involved. But really along with that, college is a really unique experience because you're going to be a lot more independent than you were in high school, but you're not quite in the real world yet. So you have so many opportunities in one place. A lot of them are going to be free to you. So take advantage of that because this is a time where you're going to be making connections with people that you may be able to utilize those connections later on once you get into the real world. And just enjoy the experiences while you can experience them because it's a really short period of your time, of your life, and you're not going to have these same kind of experiences once you get out and you're working and things like that. So really, really take advantage of that. But along with that, make sure that you are keeping your life balanced because like Olivia said, going to classes is very important. Your social life is very important. You need to make sure that you're still staying well-rounded so you're not too dedicated to just one aspect of your life, but you're really staying level there.
I would say probably along the same lines, learn to manage your time well. You've probably not had this much independence so far, so you kind of have more power over your time, whether you want to just lay around or you want to do something, but it'll kind of decide how you're going to spend your time in high school. So I would say my biggest tip is manage your time well and not just, daily or weekly. Manage your time, manage your 4 years well, manage every semester well, manage every month, manage every week. Just make sure, whatever you're doing, you're choosing to do and you're enjoying what you're doing.
Awesome. And for me, I guess one of the big things I would just say is think of every moment as kind of like an investment. So if you, see some value in what you're doing right now, whether it's for your friendships or, I don't know, making yourself happier or, getting some homework done, moving towards a goal, anything like that, that's really what you want to look for. And it's kind of like what Katie said with the opportunities, for example. That's just a, really great way to kind of just blossom into the person that you are becoming. So if you see something like maybe a friendship that's not really adding a whole lot, or it's maybe taking away from other things, maybe distracting from your grades or something, then you gotta always just make sure you're surrounding yourself with positive things. So that's that's our segment today. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for participating. And if you did not get any of your questions answered, then just look around for social media where you ask them, and we'll be responding to those. So trying to leave no question unanswered. So Thank you for joining us, and go Bears!